I'm unstoppable today.
Right? And so, anyway, during lockdown, got my glasses here, got to read this to you. He came in the kitchen one day, it was about October 2020, right in the middle of all the heavy stuff going on with lockdowns and everything. He came in the kitchen, I was watching a bit of James Martin cooking something with butter. And he came in, he says, Dad, I've got a book for you. And I says, what is it? He says, it's brilliant. He says, I've just read it. He says, you will love it. You can use it on your seminars, your webinars. He says, it's all about 149. It's all about that positivity stuff you talk about. I said, Christopher, that sounds amazing. I'll read it. He says, and he stood over me in the kitchen. He says, pause the telly. I had to pause James. And I paused James Martin. He says, read it now. And he stood over me and made me read the first chapter. I'm just going to read 3 quotes to you. It's bloody brilliant, this. He goes, okay, punishment works. Of a fashion for a while. However, in certain contexts, it's also mean, and if employed, its potency will deteriorate along with your relationship. I turn to the next page, another great quote. On top of all of that, when focused on using grotty punishment, the punishment is only delivered when you get it wrong. Imagine all the opportunities you could have had if you were focused on delivering reward, recognition, acknowledgement every time you got it right. I couldn't believe that. I says, Chris, this is amazing. He says, turn to the next page. Punishment works, but it will come at a heavy cost. You'll lose motivation, you'll lose trust, and you'll lose your relationship. I thought, Christopher, this is brilliant. I'll find a way of squeezing this in to one of my seminars. I've just done it. Genius. I'm a bloody genius, right? Anyway, I was doing a webinar for a hospital trust who'd gone through a bit of a bad time with the CQC, right? That had a nightmare result. The chief exec I knew, he said, Steve, can you do an uplifting session for the board? Chief exec, chief nurse, HR, all that, just give us an uplift, son. I says, no, what? I got on Zoom and I was doing my stuff and I thought, ooh, I just tucked up the car. I want to read those quotes. If you want to build a strong culture, focus on the positives at least as much as you do as the negatives, right? Obviously, don't ignore the negatives. Like if wheelchair rugby league team have a bad match, they'll play the game, they'll look for the flaws, look for the mistakes. Of course, they want to know how to make those 1% gains, right? Absolutely right, no question. But they also spend time focusing on the wins. In fact, it won't surprise you to know that with a wheelchair rugby league team, coming back to Ed's values, Ed, you've just done such a good job leading me into this. The values of the wheelchair rugby league team, the number one they agreed on back in March this year was celebrate all the wins. Don't let a single win go by without recognition, acknowledgement, and paying attention to it, on and off the pitch. Make sense? Right? So I'm doing this session on Zoom. I'm sharing these 3 quotes. You know, punishment works. It always comes at a heavy cost. You lose motivation, you lose trust, you lose your relationship. And the HR director said, Steve, that's really powerful stuff you're sharing there. What's the reference? What's the book? What's your data? What's your evidence? I says, it's a book. It's called Easy Peasy Puppy Squeezy. Because we got a golden doodle in October, and this came with a dog. And it turned out when to train a dog, that's what you do. And then we got the dog. I've never had a dog. We had a golden dog, like a little bear. And we're in the kitchen. My son says, that's what we're going to use to train this dog. I says, brilliant. I want a trained dog. If there's one thing I want, it's a trained dog. And then we get in the kitchen, and I don't even like dogs that much. But this dog loves me. And it jumps on my leg, and it's like a little tiny bear. And it's on my leg, nobody else's leg. And the first thing you want to do is get rid of it. You're going to get off my freaking leg, get off my leg. Right? But that's wrong. And Christopher says, don't do anything. And the dog's going, he's going, look straight ahead. There's me, my daughter Anna, my wife Abby. And we're all looking straight. He says, don't do anything. I says, it's on my leg. He says, don't do anything. Stay quiet. I'm going, and it's going, and after about 10 seconds, the dog's paws fall to the floor. And what do? Good boy. Good boy. And then you give it a treat. And then you tickle its tummy. It's brilliant. And the dog's going, aha, I've worked this out. When I'm annoying, I get nothing. But if I'm quiet, I get a treat and a tummy tickle. You could take this back to work tomorrow. You could have a demoted member of staff. And you go, I know exactly what to do. I did off Steve Head yesterday. Here's a treat. I'm going to tickle your tummy. By the way, it's a metaphor. If I find any one of you has done that, you deserve everything you get.